My name is Preston Folkestad, and this is my 1984 Chevy C10. I do the marketing and sales for a company called GC Cooling, and we develop cooling packages for everything from hot rods to high-performance street cars to full-blown race cars. So the truck was really based on giving us a vehicle to show off our products. So in this truck we're running our drop-in C10 kit, and the purpose of this truck was to not only show off our products, but to have something that we could go take to the shows and race, have fun, beat up, and just have fun. I mean, that's what it's about. So just after graduating, I built a truck for SEMA 2017. It was my great-grandpa's truck, and it was something kind of special because it was more of a hot rod truck. So I built it as a full-blown, high-end, candy paint job, hot rod truck. And I started autocrossing that one, and I didn't really want to beat it up as much. With the paint job being so much work, it was getting rock chips and everything like that. So that was really the inspiration for this beast behind me. So this truck we acquired in about 2018 from down southeast, and we drove it as a shop truck for probably about 7 months, getting ready to build it for SEMA 2019. So kind of January, February of 2018 is really when we started to dive into the truck. When we first picked up the truck was actually in pretty good condition. So as I said, we drove the truck for almost a year just as a shop truck. It's funny enough, the nickname for the whole thing, it was a brown truck, so it was dubbed the Turd. And we almost carried that nickname, and some of us still do at the shop. But as far as the overall condition, it was pretty good. And traditional square body format from a southeastern state. It was kind of rusty in the typical spots. Cab corners were a little bit rusted. The firewall was a little bit rusted, but nothing too terribly bad. So when we started to dive into it, it made our lives a lot easier. So I'm unique in the fact that I have a lot of inside ability to meet with other customers and manufacturers through SEMA and PRI. So to start the build, we really started to look at the power plant. With the original motor being a 350, I wanted something that had some high horsepower, high torque that we could use not only on autocross, but road racing and potentially some drag racing. So with that being said, we have some really close friends now that just from the industry that build motors and motor components that are extremely high performance. So to start out, the motor is 427 LS aluminum block from Concept Performance. And then it's topped with Frankenstein heads and intake. So that whole package was really a conglomeration of meeting people at SEMA and PRI and getting to know those guys. So all those guys are usually in the drag race scene, but have been switching over to more street performance and autocross. So it was a great opportunity for not only them, but for me to put something together to do both. So delivering 768 horse to the ground takes a lot of engineering and high performance parts. So I went with a Tremec T56 Magnum 6-speed for the transmission, to dynamic drive lines for the drive line, and a 9-inch rear end from Quick Performance with 410 gears. So to slow the truck, I'm using wheelwood brakes, 6-piston in the front, 4-piston in the rear. I also have provisions to have a drift brake in the back to get sideways in the truck, which is pretty fun. Surrounding that, I'm using Forgeline GA3 wheels, 19-inch all the way around with BF Goodwrench Rival S-Series on all fours. So in the beginning, we started with the frame. So I took it to one of our really good friends and fabricators, Joe Rosenberg at 515 Fabrication, to help with kind of the chassis setup and suspension. So when we took it there, we decided to not go with the aftermarket frame, and instead we took the stock frame, boxed it in, made it a lot more sturdy, and added a lot of bracing throughout the whole thing. On top of that, I had Joe go ahead and make a full roll cage tying in the front and back. So the whole frame and the whole truck in reality is pretty darn stiff and safe. So with that in mind, we wanted a truck to be able to road race and be comfortable and know that we can go 150 mile an hour plus without killing ourselves. So once we got the frame and kind of the roll cage figured out, I reached out to Rob McGregor at No Limit Engineering for help on the suspension. So we ended up going with the No Limit wide IFS kit in the front and his 4-link system in the back. So we have a lot of adjustability, and it really helps us dominate on the autocross and road race for trucks. So along with that, we're using RideTech shocks and Hypercoast springs with 800 in the front and 250 in the back. So other modifications to kind of make this truck a little bit more unique and race ready is we wanted to cut a lot of weight. So a traditional C10 weighs about 4,200 pounds, and we wanted to get into that 32 to 3,100 pound weight area. So I ended up taking the front inner fenders out, the bed completely out. We shaved the inside of the bed, the tailgate, and they're all the original OE steel rather than fiberglass or carbon. So other modifications and upgrades is the fuel system. So we ended up going with a fuel-safe fuel system, or fuel cell, excuse me, and Weldon fuel pump to deliver all the fuel to the motor. So being that this truck was at SEMA, you kind of have to take things to the next level. So with that being said, I ended up designing a custom dash with a few of our engineers at our shop, and got that in and got it powder coated, and it looks fantastic. A lot of the interior was custom done, so when you look inside, it's not something that you traditionally see in a C10 with a bench seat or a couple bucket seats. So inside the interior, you can see the Holley Dominator system to deliver all the fuel and manage the whole engine. So I'm also running their smaller dash to pretty much get all the analytics on the truck. So along with the interior, to make it more race ready and race friendly, I reached out to our friends at Momo Seats and ended up getting a couple of their seats, steering wheel, and harnesses to keep me safe. So other modifications in the interior that are a little unique, going back to the racing, is we ended up cutting out the floor and making it a little bit more geometric to relate to foot position and just having a nice, easy to use space. Along with that, I'm using wheelwood pedals for brake and clutch, and then using kind of a different view or a different item for the gas pedal. We ended up going with, or taking inspiration from some late model and dirt cars where it's just kind of a bar with a hook on it, just in case the fuel or the gas pedal catches, so it can instantly kick up and pull the gas pedal from sticking. So also coming down to it being a street truck on the same side, the truck has AC from Vintage Air, and it also has cup holders so my dad can drink his big gulp going down the road. With this truck being entered into SEMA, you have to take things up to the next notch. So with that being said, we had to do a lot of custom work to the truck to just take it to that next level. So one of the cool things that we ended up doing was making some custom door panels, which were actually based off the original door panels, just leather wrapped, and we added some carbon fiber inserts and utilized some of the OEM parts as well. A big shout out to Joe Rosenberg at 515 Fabrication again. Just the level of detail when it came to fabricating just crazy ideas on the truck was phenomenal. So he ended up helping design, or he helped do the full exhaust system. So we're using hooker headers, and then from there, Borla exhaust, and then the rest were all custom from him. Another cool thing he helped on was a big problem that we had with my other truck is loading and unloading from a trailer. So I had a crazy idea to make a removable front and rear bumper. So the whole bumper and chin spoiler come off, so we can easily load and unload the truck without having to scrape or do any fancy trailer hopping. So additionally to taking things to the next level, I spent a lot of time on the overall thought of what the truck should look like. So my background is I'm a graphic designer, and I graduated from Iowa State in graphic design. So I spent a lot of time on just the visual of the truck, not only going down the track, but sitting still. So with that being said, I designed the whole vinyl package that went on it. So we wanted the gray to be able to spot any oil or any fluids going on under the hood, and then built off of that with colors relating to the wheels and just the overall racing schemes throughout history. So that was a pretty fun experience for me because it gave me a lot of freedom to play around with the designs. We tried a little bit of retro, tried a little bit of super new school, kind of flames and all sorts of different stuff, and we ended up deciding on something that, in my opinion, looks fast even when it's sitting still. So it's been really fun to see everyone's reaction to this truck. So at SEMA, I didn't get a place in top 5 or top 3, but I ended up placing the top 50 overall. And then what was really cool is I actually won a golden ticket to the Optima Ultimate Street Car Invitational in Las Vegas. So to be able to have other people in the industry pick your truck to say, you're going to come to our track and you're going to prove it, and then take it out and actually prove it to them and have everyone like, holy shit, this is something a little bit different, was pretty fun. So after that, we've been working and tuning and being able to take it out to a handful of events, and honestly, everyone has came up and said, this is a really badass truck, and taking inspiration from it. So I think looking forward, this truck is going to be something that people take inspiration on and build something even cooler. And that's, to me, that's really successful. I think the conglomeration of all the companies coming together to help on this build really has put something unique and really fun to drive. With it being a high horsepower truck, I can rip on the autocross and road course, but I can also go get fries and a shake, and that's something to be said, and just be able to have fun with this.